Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amy and I am on a financial freedom journey with my family. I'm so happy you're here. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and become a part of my YouTube family. Today we are going to be going over our May budget recap. I do these videos every single month and just break down what we actually spent. I do also film our monthly budget videos, but as you guys probably know, if you budget, it doesn't always work out the way that we plan it to. Actually, it usually doesn't. And so I like to film these videos to show the reality of our budget and where sometimes we go over budget and sometimes we also go under budget. This month was a pretty good mix of both, actually. We were under budget in some, over budget in others. This month was a overall really good month. It was my last month of maternity leave. I went back to work the week of the 23rd of May. So I've been back at work for almost 2 weeks now, and it's been really good. It's been good to get back on somewhat of a routine, but it's also been a challenge, of course, just adjusting back to regular life with a new baby and getting new routines down. So let's go ahead and get started. So first we're going to go over our income. So my husband and I both work full time. We do get our income primarily from that. So we estimated $7,000 and we brought home $7,000. So no change there. And then we also do usually have side hustle income every single month from various side hustles that we do. I share about those every single week in Debt Free Friday. So we never budget for that, but we did this month bring home $396 from side hustles. So that is obviously plus $396. And that leaves our total income for the month of May at $7,396. So let's see how we spent that for this month. Our mortgage, we budgeted $1,284. We spent $1,284, no difference there, and that was at 17% of our income. Then we have our cell phones. We budgeted $130 for that, and that was $130. Most of these fixed expenses don't change very much, and that was at 1.8% of our income. Then we have our subscriptions, which right now this is just our Netflix and our Peloton. So we budgeted $56 and we spent $56. Our Peloton membership is going up next month, so this will go up a little bit. No difference there, and that was at 0.8%. So that'll be increased slightly. But yeah, we only have Netflix and Peloton as like our subscriptions now. And then we have our utilities, which this includes our electric and our internet. So one of the questions that I typically get on our budget videos is our water. So we actually pay our water bill quarterly, so you don't see that in every single budget. It's in every third budget. And then also I get a lot of questions on car insurance. So we pay our car insurance twice a year. So that is something, I think it actually comes out in July. So you should see that in the next couple of months in our budget. But those are a lot of questions that I get. So utilities for us right now is including our electric and our internet. We budgeted $200 for our electric and $60 for our internet for a total of $260 for our utilities, and we actually spent $230. So our electric was only $170, which was awesome. It was down a little bit. It's always nice when we're under budget. It's that time of year where our utilities are typically a little bit lower because we're not using heat or air as much during this springtime in, April, May, June-ish time frame. Although it's starting to get really hot here, so I'm assuming next month it'll probably be back around 200, but that's okay. I will take a month off of of having a high bill. So next up we have giving. So if you have watched my last couple of budget related videos, I talked about doing a reoccurring donation. So I actually did set that up this month just because it is just hard for me to keep track of this and just make sure that I'm doing it. So I just figured I would set something up reoccurring. I can always change that if I want to donate somewhere else. I actually set it up through St. Jude, which is one that I got recommended a lot by a lot of you guys. And also it's somewhere that I've donated to personally before as well. So I just went ahead and set up a reoccurring donation every single month that'll pull from my checking account. So I'm happy about that. It's one less thing that we need to worry about. And then this month we actually did have our water bill. I forgot, and here it is on my bill tracker. But we actually did have our water bill for our quarterly water. I had budgeted $225 and it was actually higher. It was $257, which is pretty high. But I forgot that we had been watering our, I had to replant a patch of grass. And so we had to be watering that pretty consistently. So I think that's why it was so much over what I expected. So that was over by $32, but that's okay. we just adjusted that and moved on. So that was at 3.5%. So yes, we do have quarterly water. So it comes out in May and then it'll come out again, I think, in August, and so on and so forth. That's just how our city does our water. And then after that, we had our spending. So both my husband and I get spending money that we are just able to do whatever we want with. We don't track it. We don't keep count of it or anything. It just goes into our personal checking accounts, and then we can buy whatever we so please. We get $100 each every single month. We used to get less than that when we were in debt, but we did bump that up once we were out of debt. So that's at 2.7%. Then we have our gas. So this is the gas for our vehicles. So we had budgeted $125. That was actually a little low for this month, which I anticipated. It was $133. The gas prices here are just really crazy. It's like $4.50 a gallon, I think, right now. And so it's costing us a lot more to fill up. So we spent $133. That was over budget by $8. It was pretty close, so I'm not too upset about it, but I'm considering if we need to maybe bump this up a little bit. We did not do an awful lot of driving in May, so this was like, basically, I think it was 3 fill-ups for us. And I think one of them was like not even a full fill up. It was like a half. So it was basically probably 2.5 fill ups, and it was $133, which is crazy. Then we had our groceries, which I'm really proud of this category. We had budgeted $700 and we actually only spent $623. I was really good in May for the most part about doing meal planning. And so that always helps my budget. I can always tell a difference when we are being diligent in meal planning for dinners. And it just helps like us not eat out more. It helps our costs. We're not wasting so much. We're not buying things that we don't need. So I definitely recommend that if you're struggling with your grocery bill, to make sure that you have a meal plan every single week if you can. Obviously, some weeks it doesn't happen for us either. I'm not perfect. And there are weeks where I am just flying by the seat of my pants and just trying to make it through with my kids. But I always notice a difference when I do it. And this was definitely a testament to that this month because we were able to stay pretty far under budget. We did eat out a little bit more this month. I'll go over that in a minute. But overall, I'm really happy with this category. And then we had our family fun category. So this is just kind of a category that we added for just random things with our kids, especially as summer approaches. We're definitely doing more with our kids. So we spent $67 out of this category this month, which was actually under budget by $33, which is awesome. And that $67 was for a movie for my husband and my son to go to. And then also they're doing a baseball game with our baseball team. So we had to pay for the tickets for that. So that's what that was for this month. So I'm always happy that I have this category because it takes the stress away from having to plan for things like that. In prior months, I probably would have been freaking out that we had to pay, I think it was like $50 for the baseball tickets, but it was not even a big deal because I knew we had this budget, and it was very, very nice to have it and not have to worry about where am I pulling this from, etc. And then it's also nice to not have to dip into our sinking funds too. I try to put a lot of safeguards in place to prevent us from having to dip too much into our sinking funds, just for ease, because I don't want to have to move money from our savings and stuff. So I try to put some safeguards in place so that we're not constantly having to move money around, because I don't like to do that. I like to just kind of keep things in our checking account and not have to dip into those sinking funds as much as possible. Then we have our miscellaneous category. So this is just for like anything else. $200 is what we budget. We actually spent $220, and I am fully aware of why we were over budget in this category, because we did a lot around the house in the month of May. So we had to remulch some of our beds and things like that, and it just ended up costing a little bit more than I had anticipated. If I would have thought prior, I probably would have added like a landscaping category into the May budget, but I wasn't quite sure what we were going to do and how much we would need. So I definitely, for next year, I'm probably going to consider doing that in like the spring months, is just adding like a landscaping or, like outdoor type of category in the month of like April, May, or June, just to prevent us from going over budget. But hindsight's 2020. It's okay. We still, we're kind of close to the budget, and I think it's okay. Again, we had to buy some like mulch, and then I also bought some flowers and stuff for the yard. So primarily that was what came out of this budget this month. All good, but for next year, I do want to kind of just remember that. So dining out, we had budgeted $350. So May was also my birthday month. And so we always budget for a nice dinner out for our birthdays. That's just like a family tradition that we have. We always go out to dinner. On our birthdays, we go to a sit-down restaurant. We tip really well. It's, a whole thing. So we normally don't go like out to restaurants very often. So it's kind of a special thing that we do on our birthdays. So I wanted to have the budget for that. We did go over budget in this category by $378, which I'm not super proud of, but it was pretty close. I'm not, it's fine. Also, my friend came and visited me this month from out of town, which was awesome. She surprised me for my birthday. So that was a little more spendy than I had anticipated, but it is okay. My husband wanted to surprise me, and I so appreciate that, although my budget maybe doesn't. But it's okay. So it really wasn't too bad. We did spend a little bit more on eating out than I had wanted to. I was really trying to keep this like under budget, but it's okay. That was at 5.1% of our budget. Then we're going to go down to our sinking funds. So we have car, kids, home, vacation, and Christmas. These are our sinking funds that we fund every single month. These don't really change too much. We pretty much have had these same categories. I like to do broad categories for our sinking funds. I just find for myself that it's easier for me to do it this way. I don't like to have a ton of sinking fund categories because I feel like then I get confused and it's just too much for my brain to wrap around. So I just like to do some like very large generic categories, and then we pull from those as needed. So we did not do anything different than the plan for the sinking funds this month. That was at 0.7, 0.7, 1, 1, and 1. So yeah, these pretty much stay the same. We pretty much fund them the same every single month. Christmas is one that is always 75 because we're trying to stick to a $900 Christmas budget this year. I know that kind of sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, honestly, but we do also like to do some additional giving in the month of December, and that is kind of included in that as well. And then we also do buy, obviously, gifts for our kids, gifts for our nieces and nephews, and then that's also including extra hosting expenses and decor and all the things. So $900 is kind of all encompassing of that. That is the budget we decided on for Christmas. So that will always be 75. The other ones kind of flex a little bit as we need them to. So for example, if I know that I'm taking my car in for a repair, I might put more into that the month prior, or so be it. And then also for our home sinking fund. Right now, we're not heavily funding this because we are actually hoping to be moving. So I have a separate house fund that I'm funding every single week in Debt Free Friday, if you've been following along. This is like mostly for home maintenance and stuff. So theoretically, if I wanted to, I could have pulled from this sinking fund for like the mulch and things for our house, but I just decided to just let it go a little bit over budget and not do that. So hopefully that makes sense. It's very confusing sometimes to try to explain like your budget to other people. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I am an open book. I would love to answer any of your questions that you have. It is confusing at times for me to try to explain things. So I hope you're following along okay. And then our last two things that we fund every single month are our Roth IRA. So these are like our financial goals, and then our house fund. So if you follow along on my Debt Free Friday videos, this is what we were funding for this month. These are our current financial goals. So we were able to send $310 to our Roth IRA in the month of May and $3,210 into our house fund. So again, we are hoping to move. I'm hoping in the next few months, actually. Honestly, we're probably going to be listing our house in the next few months. So stay tuned. Nothing super like clear cut yet on that, but we are in talks with the realtor. We're kind of trying to get our home a little bit prepped, kind of start the process to make sure that we're in a good place, and we're hoping to move by, fall-ish timeframe. So I'm really excited about that. Very, very nervous though. Yeah, if you have any tips, drop them in the comments down below. If you have sold a home and bought a home, we have never sold a home before, so this is our first time, and this market is still pretty crazy. So any tips you have, I am definitely all ears for those tips if you have any below. We did 310 and 3210 for our two financial goals for this month, and that was at 4.2% of our income and 43.4% of our income. So we do try to send about 40% of our income to our financial goals every single month. And depending on how much side hustle income we have, that tends to sway it a little bit because 100% of our side hustle income goes to our financial goals. So this month we were at about 47%, which is amazing. I'm so happy about that. If you watched my June budget with me though, we will be adding in a preschool expense in June again. We had it previously, then I was on maternity leave. My daughter lost her spot at daycare. Long story. If you've been around, you've probably heard it. But anyway, she was temporarily pulled out of daycare while I was on maternity leave then, and she is starting again in June. So I'm really happy about that, but it definitely will affect our financial goals a little bit, and we will have less money to put towards that. So I am relishing in the fact that we were able to put 47% this month, because it will probably not happen for the rest of the year because preschool is expensive. Holy cow. Anyways, moving on. Just a recap at the bottom here. Total income for the month again was $7,396. We had total expenses this month of $7,523, which is actually over budget by $127. All good though, because we do have a buffer in our checking account, so that definitely catches a lot of that. I try not to go over budget this much. This was a little bit high this month, but it's all good. We have enough money in our buffer to cover that, and that is kind of the purpose of the buffer, is just to be there in case we do go over budget. I did not do a super good job this month of doing like a mid-month reconciliation, which is what I normally try to do, just to make sure that we're staying on our budget. I actually have been doing it even more recently, but in the month of May, I was really busy and did not have time to look at our budget as much. So I'm just happy that the damage isn't worse. All right. So that is all I have for you guys this month. Let me know in the comments down below. How did May go for you? How are you feeling? Are you excited about summer? I would love to chat with you in the comments. Let me know, and I will talk to you guys in my video on Friday. Bye guys.